welcome to the Demo Dive, where I live stream myself digging through Steam's demo tag to sort the trash from the treasure. I'm CB, and despite a horrific amount of tired, I am not skipping another Demo Dive. I'm also not going to talk about the human-coded day job, because this is happy, fun gaming time, and I refuse to depress myself about it further. At the very least, I didn't have to cook anything, since I had leftovers of the lovely chicken broccoli pasta bake I made the other day. I really need to post the recipe to that on my side blog at some point. Oh, I never mentioned I have a side blog basically made of recipes and cooking tips, mostly for the disabled, neurospicy, or all of the above, because, me. Though some of you may have got some of those recipes through my sib from another crib. Anyway, I can link to that whole thing later. So, despite my hyper-focus activity of late mostly being Horizon Zero Dawn, puzzle things are just not the things I can do just now. Yes, I know it seems counterintuitive that I was creeping around shooting at machinimals to ignore pain, and yet don't necessarily think I can manage puzzle games. But honestly, stalking creatures for enough wire to keep my precision arrow quiver full is surprisingly zen. So we'll be looking at Keyframes by Blank House. This is a visual novel, a quasi-coming-of-age sort of thing, focusing on one's second year at university. And given the promise of a couple of hundred variations of playthrough just in this demo alone, they might rival Black Tabby for playthrough variety and branching narrative. The big question is whether that narrative, or those narratives, I guess, but you know what I mean. It's about whether the story is engaging enough to find all those hundreds of potential playthroughs without wanting to kill yourself out of sheer boredom. So, let's find out if it lives up to its internal hype. Sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin. So what have we got? I went through the options. I don't know what extras are. Let's just give a start. Time to take a quiz, a personality quiz, and no, you're not allowed to skip this. Oh, great! First thing, I already have homework. Okay. We're giving you a series of statements for you to answer truthfully. Yes, but is that as me, or the me that I want to be playing like right now? Because they might not necessarily be the same. Have you not figured out that sometimes we have, like, OC archetypes that we run through this shit? No, apparently not, so we're just playing as Trash Goblin. Okay, I can do that. Or not. We're not the boss of you. Okay, I'm feeling a little better about this. So let's start. First question. Uh-oh, you forgot to write your paper and it's due tomorrow morning. There's no hope. May the failing grade be merciful. Email the teacher and ask for an extension. If I just don't sleep tonight, maybe I can make it. Panic, cry, pray, and then just write for my life. Yeah, I'm normally on the if I just don't sleep tonight, maybe I can make it. Because I generally can. That's the ADHDers rallying call. If you get enough adrenaline into them. Adrenaline and caffeine. Unless you're one of those ones where sometimes caffeine just makes you sleepy, in which case. Point is that sometimes the only way somebody with significant ADHD can get something done is wait until just before the deadline and then bash it out. So that's what we're doing. Someone took your go-to karaoke song. What do you do? Sing it anyway, it's still your song. Find another song to sing instead. Passionately shake a tambourine in support. Join them for a duet. It depends on the someone. Are they a friend? Are they a stranger? Are they someone whose head I want to pour a drink over? And find another song. Fuck it. Your friends spring sudden plans on you. No, my friends know better. What do you do? Decline nicely, your evening is already booked, you're only young once, you can do whatever you were doing later. You hit them with an Uno reverse card and invite them to join you for your night. It depends on what I have planned! Can we not get some detail up in this bullshit? Probably Uno reverse, see if they want to do whatever I was planning, because I obviously wanted to do it or I wouldn't have planned to do it. Your favorite plush toy fell off the bed while you were sleeping, how do you react? Wait, I never had a plushie on my bed. You apologize and promise to never let that happen again. You pick them up and tuck them snugly back in bed. C'est la vie. You'll remember to pick them up later, hopefully. Really, generally, I don't actually, well, to be case, I didn't have a plushie on my bed because it's like a single bed, because I don't and will not share. My plushies have places of honor on shelves, but I hug them regularly, so this is not telling everything. Someone's approaching you with a clipboard. What do you do? Pretend I don't see them and keep walking. Stop and listen. They've probably been ignored all day. I'm already clear across campus just to avoid them. I'm hoping they're going to talk to someone behind me. Yeah, unfortunately, pretend I didn't see them and keep walking, because I probably have shit to do, and I don't like being approached by strangers. Do you often procrastinate until the last minute, even if it's important? Yes, but they shouldn't put that deadline that far if it's important. Nope, it's done the minute I know about it. You're fighting with a friend, but it's gone on long enough. What do you do? Apologize first, even if you don't think you're wrong. Nothing. More confrontation is too much. Extend an invitation, but don't acknowledge the argument. Wait until they apologize. You were right. Extend the invitation. If they don't accept it, then I have, like, other options. Your friend bought a present, but you don't like it. What do you do? Lie. They don't know and don't want to hurt your feelings. Tell them the truth. It's better that they know than pretend you like it. I am generally speaking honest with my friends. I mean, again, there's no nuance here. I would have been, I really appreciate it, not generally my thing, just so that they don't keep getting me gifts along the same theme. This is closest. Are you the type of person who laughs at their own jokes? What? No, that's lame. Why wouldn't I? They're funny. I never managed to get to the punchline. Yes, but only because that makes it even funnier. Yeah, generally it makes it funnier. Calculating results. Your summer. These personalities are often characterized as the life of the party, anywhere and everywhere it is that they might go. Are we talking about the same me here? Summers are the kind of people who wear their heart on their sleeve and are unafraid to seize what it is that they may want. They don't often care what others think, but that is sometimes costly. As a summer type, some of your actions and responses are already predetermined, but don't worry, you will still be able to influence your character throughout the game based on choices you make. So, yeah, this is locked in some of my decisions. Great. Now let's double check some info. Yeah, let's leave it. Department of Humanities. They them confirm. At some points in the game, members of the cast may behave differently depending on factors related to their/your orientation and presentation. Please select all the apply response to how you prefer your character be perceived. We're shy around women, maybe shy around my character, shy around men. I prefer my character not to be perceived based on either option. Thank you. It's close enough. During some action-packed occasions, Keyframes implements QuickTime events to help direct the narrative test. Test each mode and choose what is comfortable for you. You can change this at any point in the setting. Go for slow. Okay, that should be fine. Let's... Okay, we should be fine. Confirm, are you done customizing? As ready as I'll ever be! Your phone rested you from your dream, and you woke to the scratch of your sheets and the whir of the AC unit. You slept blindly around in the blankets, nearly pushing a pillow off the bed and the shovel for your phone. After a bit more fumbling, you finally slid your finger across the screen to set the call on speaker. You reached Jay, what I can do for you, what do you want? Hey, what's yawned? Oh, hi Cameron. My bad, what'd it do, boo?
Yo, dude, are you up?
Yeah, totally.
Ha, bullshit. Pics or it didn't happen?
Begrudgingly, you grabbed your phone and snapped a miserable picture. The only indication that the photo was successfully delivered was the staticky guffaw you heard a moment later.
Yikes. You look terrible. Thanks for the blackmail.
No problem, Cam.
Okay, but seriously, you should look at the time right now.
You opened your bleary eyes. In the wash of warm light filtering through the curtains, you recognized the late morning hours stretching across the floor. It had to be well into the day now, and you squinted at your phone for confirmation. 12 p.m. Noon. It's high noon.
Okay, but I'll just decide you should, like, get up.
What if I said no?
Well, I tried.
Dude, you're too nice. Let me. Hey, you gotta wake up. You'd better not have forgotten.
Forgotten what?
Today's Raina's barbecue party, remember? Cam and I finished buying snacks and stuff. We're also like 15 minutes from campus. So, if you still want to ride, you should get up. Like, right now.
Fuck.
And there's the reaction we're looking for.
Thank God. It finally sunk in.
Time me. I'm gonna be out in 5.
Don't do that. Please be properly ready at the parking lot near the...
Your time starts now.
The call dropped and you sprang into action, sprinting across the sun-warmed floor to get ready. Okay. You stepped out of your apartment building, bracing for a blast of heat. As the semester was drawing towards its close, temperatures had risen in a way that left you lingering in the chilled indoors. But thankfully, today was a perfect spring day, one of the last ones you'd get before summer crept in. There was just one thing in your way. Or, well, many things. Many people. At this time of day, Rin Mayer University was as lively as ever. Students moved in and out of lecture halls, and they were clustered everywhere with their eyes on their books, their friends, or their phones. So not looking where they were going great. If you hadn't been so hell-bent on finishing your assignments for the week last night, you would have been awake in time for a peaceful morning, and you'd be able to simply walk alongside the crowds, calm as anything. However, you wanted to be prepared, and that meant keeping up with whatever the professors gave you. You need to get everything done just so you could go a few days without thinking about schoolwork. All your work from the last 2 weeks had piled up right until the last minute. Get everything done so I could go a few days without thinking about it. Finals were around the corner, and you knew you were due for some late, stressful nights. Until then, you'd keep scraping together free days when you could. And thus, here you were. Out of the way, thank you! You tore through the crowd like a veritable force of nature, sending people reeling and cursing as they tried to clear a path for you. Somewhere in the back of your mind, your roommate's voice fluttered like a tiny angel, admonishing you for such daredevil maneuvers. It went like something something. You can't just do whatever you like, something something. But you didn't care to listen. It wasn't like she was there to actually chastise you anyway. Besides, it was a move it or lose it situation, and you definitely didn't have time to spare. Bullet train coming through. Sorry, watch out. Oof! Your teeth were rattling in your skull before you even realized you were on the ground, your hands and knees stinging from the force of your landing. For a second, you thought you heard a distant "I told you so," but the throbbing in your forehead didn't really help in differentiating karma from the onlookers' murmurs that rose around you.
Oh, my head. Huh? Ow!
You furiously rubbed at the space above your brow. At the same time, a random student sprawled out beneath you, curled in a fetal position, clutching at their face. What did I just run into you?
Yeah, you also knocked me on my head. Twice.
Yeah. Shit, I'm so sorry about that.
No harm done, I guess. Oh, I take that back. My shit still hurts.
Well, you know me. Head's a steel trap.
I don't know you. And is that what that's even supposed to mean?
Oh, yeah. They laughed. Not so much at you as with you, but at least there were no hard feelings. Well, sorry again. Let me get off you. Rocking on your knees, you started to push yourself up when you heard a whine from the person trapped below you.
Oh, already?
Excuse the hell out of me! And you jerked to a stop, looking down to them, giving you a roguish, playful grin. For someone who'd just been headbutted twice, they looked quite at ease as they propped themselves up on their elbows. What, you want me to sit right here?
Maybe.
Bold little shit, aren't you?
Maybe.
Their grin then morphed into a simper.
I mean, you're the one still straddling me.
Please, you didn't want me off.
Anyone would sigh over a loss like that, sweetheart. Just don't listen to me. Unless you care that much for a stranger's opinion?
Fuck no.
Not even our audiences?
They gestured with a cock of their head to the small crowd of people still watching, whispering. You narrowed your eyes, your lips pursing. You never were good at dancing around subjects or playing mind games, but even you could tell they were challenging you. You didn't really like this chum's personality, like hell you were going to play into their hands, like hell you'd surrender here. Yeah, I don't really feel like playing into this person's hands, but they could be interesting to get to know, so. Nice try, Buster, but I see what you're up to, and you're not going to pull one over on me. You sprang to your feet with a cackle, pointing down at them with gusto. You're 100 years too early to think of besting me. The hard, rascal-like edge to their grin eased into amusement as they smoothly climbed to their feet, laughing under their breath.
Fair enough. As long as you don't play, you can't lose, huh?
Exactly.
And if I called you a spoil sport?
Doesn't change the fact I figured you out, so there. Hold, please. With their index finger raised, they turned to kick up the scooter next to them. After they scrutinized it for any dings and scratches, they hopped on for a more thorough checkup. They pushed off with the right foot, hand-twisting the accelerator so that it started up with a low whir, and set off into a series of slow, smooth laps with you in the center. Nice. Still good. Someone's clearly not in a rush to leave yet. I'm actually running late for a meet with some friends. And you still stopped for a tussle? Yep. Although you caved a lot faster than I thought. What's the phrase? All bark, no bite? Look! Their shoulders shook with a barely concealed laugh, the corner of their eyes crinkling with happy lines. If you got somewhere to be, why stick around? Are you kidding me? I can't just leave after running into you.
This is a scene straight out of a movie. One of us is supposed to fall head over heels for the other, you know.
Really now?
Yep. Movie law dictates it. I mean, 50,000 students on campus, and you bumped into me? We can't ignore that.
Tell you what, though. You can decide who falls for who. I'm a romantic, so I can play whichever part. They really liked to lay it on thick, didn't they? It was starting to bother you. What a riot. They knew just how to clap back every time. You didn't doubt that. They'd been super forward from the jump. They were being quite cute, cheesiness and all. Honestly, you weren't very sure how to respond. To be fair, I'm thinking about this and I'm being like, okay, so yeah, he's a little smarmy, but he knows where the boundary is. He just likes tightrope walking on it. Not crossing, tightrope walking on it. And they seem cute. Obviously, they were hamming things up as hard as they could, but you didn't really find it in yourself to mind. All you could really think about how sweet their smile was. You caught yourself grinning and braced your hand on your hip, snatching for a response before they could catch on. How about this? What do you want me to play instead? In that case, you can play the one who fell first. What if this is more of a soulmates chasing each other through multiple lives thing? You mean you don't remember me? We've been together for years. You'd pretend to fall in love with me? That's sweet. Okay, then. You play the one who fell later, a bit harder, and this is where I walk away having charmed the pants off you. I'm gonna put it back at them. Let's see where this goes. Ah, twist. Since you have to ask, I'm gonna say you're taking the more passive role here. I didn't know you were so eager to fall over again. Hey, it's not falling over, it's falling in. There's a breezy confidence in the way they answered you, and the easy lilt to their voice told you they were more than used to this kind of tomfoolery. It was tempting to stick around just to see what they'd come up with next. Unfortunately, I gotta go. Don't run into anyone else, okay? Am I allowed to take that as you wanting me for yourself? You didn't reply, but you didn't need to. The way your lips pressed together in an attempt to hide your amusement was telling enough. You knew they'd seen it, since their mouth was quirked into something between a smirk and a smile, into something that, for all their wit, was mellow and indulgent. I'll see you around. They lifted a hand, throwing you a two-fingered salute as you stepped I'm sorry, it's because I've been living in this country too long. I Most of the two-finger salute I know is a effective fuck you, which came from the Welsh, showing the English army that, despite all their threats about cutting their index fingers off so they couldn't shoot arrows anymore, we still got him and we're still going to kill you with them. That, I'm sure, is not the one he's talking about, but hey. You nodded back, turning to keep eye contact, before sticking up both your middle fingers with an impish grin. That got one final indignant laugh out of them, which rang cheerfully in your ears as you spun to dash away. You'd lost valuable time, and so you break into a jog as soon as you had a straight shot across the green. So you dared to break into a jog as soon as you had a straight shot across the green. This time, thankfully, there were no collisions to be had. You slowed to walk off the light switch in your chest, slipping by a group of students going in the opposite direction. Man, whoever that was over there, they are really passionate about that song. Tell me about it. As you headed between the rows of parked cars, an electronic beat filled the air. The source? A van with the front windows rolled down as its occupants rocked out to a song from a decade ago. I am not singing that. Cameron sat in the driver's seat, two-toned hair flying wildly as they banged out a beat on the car door. They were one of your best friends, as well as a year above you in the same major. More importantly, they were a self-professed champion of car karaoke. When it came to immersing oneself in song, passion was the name of the game, and for Cam that meant there was no need to worry about hitting the right notes. Hey! The speakers went abruptly quiet as they reached the high note. With a devastated gasp, Cam jerked around to face the passenger seat, where your roommate Pigeon laughed with delicate glee. Deja was the third member of your unforgettable trio, an incorrigible tease, always looking for an opportunity to poke fun. She'd obviously been waiting for the right moment to turn the volume down. Hey, turn it back up! That's my favorite part! You hollered halfway across the lot, even as you picked up the pace. Immediately, Cameron cranked the volume even higher, and they shoved themselves halfway out their window, opening their mouth to resume belting the lyrics with gusto. Run over to join the performance, serenade them from a distance, bop. No, I'm gonna add to the performance, fuck it. Skipping and hopping to the rhythm, you threw yourself against the side of the car as soon as you could. With your head thrown back and one leg in the air, you sang your best attempt at a harmony. Hey, bring it down a notch, Beyonce. You don't know where Cam's car's been. Oh, so you don't wash your car for 3 months and suddenly everyone's a critic. You can walk to Raina's. You would never. Anyway, get in already. You rounded the passenger side and tugged at the door handle, only to find it locked. Is something wrong? Ah, so now it was your turn to be played with. Real mature, roomie. Oh good, for a second I thought I was being immature. Rolling your eyes, you rapped on the window for Cameron's attention. Cam, unlock the door. As requested, the lock flipped up a second later, and clicked right back down. Deja's grin widened, and she propped her chin innocently on one hand. Oh, so you want to fight? What a scary proposition. I'm just having fun. You'd known Deja for almost 2 years now. She dragged this joke on as long as she could, unless you did something about it. Persuading her to let you in. Stuck hand quickly through the half-open window, reaching for the unlock button. Jump up, start rocking the car as hard as possible. Yeah, I'm gonna be a pain in the ass. With a hop, you braced yourself on the car's side step, grabbed the thin railing on its top, and threw your weight back and forth. The car swayed in place, and you were rewarded with 2 screams, one excited, the other alarmed, and both very, very surprised. Are you insane? Oh, I'm just getting started. You want to see if I can barrel roll us? You heard Deja's window roll the rest of the way down, and she stuck her head out to gawk at you with genuine panic. Seriously, stop! Those weren't the magic words you were waiting for. You shrugged and jumped a few more times, jostling the car yet again. How'd the song go? Side to side? The lock popped open, and the side door slid open with a beep. Deja pulled herself back inside, flopping against her seat with a defeated wave of one hand. You win! Oh my god! This is why you're my hero, Jay. I'd argue we're all menaces at best. You said it, not me. You scrambled into a seat in the middle row, noting the rueful smile that Deja wasn't quite managing to hide. What the fuck is this car? Why are there frog things everywhere? Dude is... What have you got with the hippity hoppers, dude? Sure, she'd inconvenienced you, but it had been in the name of fun. You didn't mind a little tomfoolery at your expense. Sometimes, being the subject of Deja's teasing meant you got to enjoy her attention for just that much longer. Camcorder to Ice Queen. I repeat, camcorder to Ice Queen. The package was received safely. Now awaiting new orders. Over. We proceed as planned. Onward. To Reina. To Reina! You all clicked your seatbelts in, and Cameron shifted the car into reverse. Twisting in their seat, they gave a quick, peppy salute before settling one hand on the back of Deja's headrest. You know, I only spent like a year at university. My university was both more and less wholesome than this. I mean, okay, there was my boyfriend's housemates who had this thing about stealing road signs and made something of a name for themselves by, you know, when you've got those signs for like university campuses where the letters are literally just mounted onto the wall separately. Well, they stole those. All of them. Along with several stop signs and the largest collection of traffic cones I have ever seen. Of course, they were also the ones who had this thing about doing the dishes, or rather not. I saw one plate of chili that was left on, I think it was over the non-working fireplace for like a month. And when they got fed up with having a biohazard, they put everything into one of those plastic bowls that you're supposed to do your washing up in. But they did not do the washing up. They just put it out in the garden. And then it rained. And then they had a literal fucking biosphere out there. But beyond that, I didn't do any of this shit. I went to clubs, went to classes, but I never got cute. I'm assuming this is like wish fulfillment about what university is like. I'm assuming. Anyway, they maneuvered out of their parking spot with a practiced turn of the wheel, looking backward all the while. It was inevitable you'd make eye contact, and when you did, they winked. I know. I'm the coolest, aren't I? On most people, this kind of ego-boosting question would come off as arrogant. On Cameron, it came off as an intentional joke, a way to keep the energy light. You and Deja had the rare privilege of seeing Cameron at their silliest, and they made sure you knew it. I don't know why you keep doing that when you have a perfectly good backup camera. Cool? Nah, I think it's hot when you do that. Cam, if you have to ask, then you're not being cool. Yeah, if you have to ask, you're not being cool. Truly cool people don't need validation from others. Yeah, take it from Deja, the coolest person we know. Can you guys just indulge me? One time? Well, if you have to ask. Cameron groaned with mock frustration, though a smile still tugged at the corners of their mouth. Fine, whatever, I get it. I'm too hot to be cool. The gear shift clunked, and the car pulled smoothly out onto the main road. A cool breeze fluttered through the front windows, and campus buildings rolled by in silhouettes of glass, stone, and brick. Rin Mare was an easy first pick for many students. While not overly prestigious, it was a beautiful school set near a cozy town, couched in hazy blue mountains and forests of deep green. The academics here were no joke either. It'd been competitive enough that you'd still felt more than lucky to be admitted, in the pre-law track to boot. Oh dear gods, why am I in pre-law? It was certainly the prettiest and coolest campus you'd ever seen. Downtown Fairfield was what really sealed the deal. You'd mostly focused on academics, mostly the academics. Rin Mare was among the best in the country for political science majors, with a strong foundation for anyone looking to get into law school. Your professors were attentive and engaging, and more than a few were still judges or practicing lawyers. You already had a part-time job as an intern/clerk, and you dared to think that you were well along the right track, even as a second-year student. Cameron slowed for a speed bump, and you heard the rustle of nylon bags in the trunk. How'd the shopping go? Deja tipped her head back for a laugh. More of a sharp exhale, really. It was easy to miss these mini-laughs of hers if you didn't know what to listen for. Should I tell them, or will you? Why? What did you do, Cam? Why do you assume it's me who did something? Remember, in the court of law, everyone is presumed innocent before you're not on trial. But if you were, we'd present to the court a picture of a certain pyramid of paper towels knocked all over the floor. We had a defective wheel and the cart wouldn't steer right. And we're sure that was the cart's fault. Cam, remember, we volunteer nothing. Stay quiet. Aw, Cam, are you guys alright? We volunteer nothing. You're so right. They clamped their mouths shut, twisting an invisible key at the corner and tossing it away. Well, as an eyewitness to the crime, I've got plenty to say. She's bluffing. Stay strong. Honestly, it's not like anything actually broke. The employee said it was fine, but Cam's convinced they can't ever go back to Dickinson's again. Probably for the best, you won't stop laughing whenever we pull up. Aw, no, but the macadamia nuts there are Deja's favorite. Buck up, Cam, it's closest door to campus. Try to convince them that they won't even remember in like 2 days. Step 1, Dick in sun. Step 2, buck up. It's always in one ear and out the other for you. Cameron snickered, and as they flicked the turn signal on, Deja tilted her head to look back at you. You automatically straightened in your seat, eyes widening with preemptive, overemphasized guilt. What? What did I do? Relax, I was just going to ask how your morning went. You know, after we so graciously woke you and everything. Oh, that. Naturally, you hadn't been set up for success today. Your room had been a mess, you'd woken up late, you'd had to run across campus, and you'd gotten held up by that stranger. There was a lot to say about your morning from that alone, but did you want to tell your friends? Hey, why not tell them about that, actually? You didn't even tell them you'd always meet even later thanks to that encounter. Fuck it. Well, I ran into someone on the way over. From where? No, I mean, like, I ran into someone. I didn't know them. You crashed ran? Exactly, crashed ran. Yeah, did he actually just say LMAO? Yes, he did. What happened? Okay, so I crashed into them. We hit our heads really hard. Twice. Yow. And I ended up falling on top of them, on the ground. Yow! What next? Then they turned it into a whole rom-com thing. Really big on the sappy jokes, you know? Uh-huh. What's that for? What? What'd I say? You get those smug smiles off your faces. You leaned forward to drum your hands petulantly on their seats, and Deja laughed, unlocking her phone as she leaned away. I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, did you get a name? Cameron wiggled their eyebrows enticingly in the rearview mirror. Yeah, to be fair, this does not remind me of second year of university. This reminds me of sixth form college. Anyway, and you scoffed. Your friends weren't the biggest gossips, but they could still be quite nosy in their own right. Cam's curiosity was born of genuine interest, wanting to know for knowing's sake. But Deja wanted to appraise. At the very least, she'd make it heard whether she thought someone was bad news. She had a good radar for bullshit, no matter the context. Crappy sales deals disintegrated under her discerning eye, and anyone with ill intent could look forward to the same. Alas, no, I didn't. What? Boo! Yeah, how's Deja gonna do any internet stealthing now? We just have to run into them again? In the intervening lull, you mulled over that stranger one last time. It was normal to share an encounter like that. That had been a little unexpected. No, I talked to my friends. Yeah, there had been little to no chance you would keep a story like that from your friends. It was all par for the course. Well, thanks for picking me up anyway. Of course, we can't miss out today. It's so much free shit. Hey, don't forget, we've got work to do first. We will. Some of that Tupperware's mine, right? Even if it's not, you can borrow whatever. You raised both fists in victory, drumming your feet lightly against the car floor in anticipation. The rest of the ride was a tangle of light-hearted conversations. Deja and Cam were common fixtures in your life, but you rarely ran out of things to talk about. It was never silent, at least. Deja had the AUX, and she'd put one of her playlists on as soon as you left campus. Gradually, the trees on either side of the road thinned, and the car entered a classy residential area, with quaint homes separated by large lawns and extensive driveways. Is it this one? Yep, just pull in behind that car. Cameron pulled over, fitting the van into an empty spot. From the number of other vehicles already here, you were probably among the last of the helpers to arrive. Hopefully, Reyna wouldn't mind. Peering out the window again, you were struck by the suburban mood that blanketed the entire area. Man, who's getting housing out here? This is way fancier than what's on campus. Huh? Oh, nah, this isn't for students. But Reina lives here. She sure does. Deja flicked her wrist impassively, speaking with the bluntness of someone who'd seen this view one too many times. It's a legit neighborhood. Some of our professors live here, the tenured ones. Cam, I'm pretty sure your first-year seminar professor is her neighbor. No, Mrs. Gregory? Yep, apparently she swings by with muffins. Man, we didn't call her a G for nothing. I love you, Mrs. G! Cameron hollered after sticking their head through the window, fist thumping on their chest to express their admiration. Deja snorted. So close, it's the one on the other side. Well, whoever lives on this side, I also love them. Anyway, let's get going. One thing I will say is that this does remind me of some of my friends. Granted, some of my friends from when I was younger, and also some of my younger friends. But then again, Cam also kind of reminds me of Ethan in ways, and Ethan's a year older than I am. So, anyway. Wait 1 second. The locks clicked shut, and the window on Deja's side whirred as she rolled it back up. I'm not up for round 2 of this. That is a good thing this isn't that. I said there was a party that Reina was hosting, right? And I was co-hosting? Yep, I remember, since it was so weird hearing that. Well, weird how? You don't really do parties, do you? Not unless it's our birthdays or something. And we're here early to set up. That means it's an SGB party. Case closed, Detective Pereira. Case closed indeed. Excellent work, Detective Molinares. Deja pouted a little, and the two of you turned away to giggle. Your roommate was vice president of the Student Government Board, which organized events and initiatives all over campus. If it hadn't exactly been rocket science to guess the real nature of today's party. It was even easier when one considered that Reina was SGB president, though that did bring up one inconsistency. If it's SG business, why not put that in the name? Why is it just a barbecue today? Because it's a test run. We'd like to run this on a bigger scale next year, so we're running a smaller trial first. That's why it's at Reina's place. The other SG people know, and now you do too, but none of the other guests really do. Okay, is that it? Nope, there's something bigger. She held out one hand to each of you, palm up. You didn't really like being touched by other people, even amongst friends. You don't really like being touched by other people. You made an exception for your close friends. Yeah, that's me. And so, as if both of you shared one mind, you and Cameron slapped your hands on hers. She flinched, then sighed, curling her fingers around yours. While you were at it, you and Cam linked your free hands as well, completing the triangle and leaning in to listen. There was a pause as Deja's gaze glided from you to Cameron and back. The anticipation built as she gathered her words. The barbecue has a game at the end. A scavenger hunt. I am asking the both of you, from the depths of my heart, to take it seriously. Is that serious? I treat those with extreme seriousness from the very depths of your heart. Now I know you mean. I'm not going to comment. Your roommate closed her eyes and briefly tightened her grip on the both of you. When she opened them again, there was a flash of greed in them. The scavenger hunt, my friends, has a prize of $500. Suddenly the car was deathly silent. Let me repeat that. $500 fucking dollars. Cameron's tongue darted out to swipe at their dry lips. Deja, if you're screwing with us, I'm dead ass. This is real. We, along with the rest of the guests, are playing for keeps, and there is, I shit you not, a fat stack of cash waiting in Reina's room as we speak. If there is ever a moment to take my words at face value, it is now, okay? I'm not kidding. That cemented it for Cameron. Holy shit! The car rocked on its axles as they leaped up on their seat, thumping their hands wildly on the steering wheel as they screamed. Even Deja joined in the chaos, her heels driving into the carpet of Cameron's car in a series of gleeful thumps. The jewelry adorning her body jingled with the movement as she, too, began yelling. Join in the celebration, why not? You launched out of your seat, dancing wildly in what space you had as you slapped at the headrests. A whole $500 was up for grabs. Of course, it'd be split 3 ways, so that really meant you'd only get about 100 and something. No time for math. More dancing. More shouting. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, wait. Cameron came down from their initial shock to seize Deja by the forearms. Your roommate grabbed them back, the white of her manicured nails standing out against the gray of their hoodie. Game plan. What is it? You have to have one, right? Like, we're winning the thing, no question? Definitely. I already know where everything is. Otherwise, there's no point bringing this up. Wait, are we cheating? Deja grinned at you without hesitation, mischief sparking life in her eyes. Some people call it cheating. I call it utilization of prior knowledge given my role as party coordinator. That's just a long-winded way of saying we're cheating. If Raina didn't want me to cheat, she wouldn't have asked me to help hide the items. Besides, just because we know where everything is doesn't guarantee we'll win. We still have to get everything first if we're going to grab what we need. Nah, still didn't feel right. Nothing wrong with playing to your strengths. At this point, they're so excited. I can't. There's no rule prohibiting you from using what Deja knew. Maybe Deja was just really familiar with Raina's house and the neighborhood and the laws of probability. Nobody would know anyway, except for, maybe Raina. But if you removed all the evidence, you had a shot. I'm in. Cameron's grin was positively devilish, and Deja nodded solemnly. Alright, so here's what we'll do. There was a sudden tap on the window, and Cameron let out an ear-splitting scream. Deja screeched in turn, flinging herself backwards against the locked door. Guys, you're overreacting here. You latched onto Cameron with a shriek. I'm overreacting here. Okay, great. And they yelped again as Deja lunged to sock them in the shoulder. Ow! Your pipes, Cam, jeez!
You'd better not be doing what I think you're doing, Deja.
Damn it, Raina. I almost pissed my pants.
Raina peered through the passenger side window, her curled fingers shading her narrowed eyes. With her back to the glass, Deja looked sulkily to one side, stalling as long as she could before she'd have to make eye contact.
Oh, shit.
Are we in trouble?
No, I got this.
She stilled herself, then settled back in her seat. Rolling down the window, she stared flatly at her colleague, friend, and, as of this moment, the bane of her master plan.
Raina, so nice to see you.
Why are you guys still in the car?
Even with the sharp questioning, Deja kept steady eye contact.
I'm just letting them know what's up. We want our helpers to know their way around the barbecue, don't we?
Likely story. You know what I think? I think you were tipping them off so you could cheat.
Deja's hand fluttered to her mouth, and she let out a bewildered, dainty laugh.
What? Us? Why would I do that?
Because I know you. And I know you can't resist, you cheater.
These are mere allegations. If you're upset about it, we can hold a proper trial. That doesn't hold up in court, I demand to see some proper... Play it cool. You won't be tricked into self-incrimination. After sharing a look with Deja and Cameron, the three of you maintained your silence. Raina couldn't accuse you if you didn't say anything to make it worse.
Pleading the fifth? You know it just makes you look more guilty, right? Whatever. I don't have to make you admit it. It's smarter if I change up all the item locations anyway. I should have never let you find out in the first place.
Damn it.
Yeah, puts a damper on your plans, doesn't it?
Raina grinned triumphantly before finally stepping away from the window.
Okay, come on out. You guys aren't just here to have fun after all.
Doors opened and shut, and you lined up next to each other by the van. Raina paced slowly back and forth, her fingers tented in front of her as she eyed you up and down. It was a bit embarrassing to be caught before you even cheated on anything. Raina seemed to think she had all the evidence she needed, and at her house, at her party, she was judge, jury, and taskmaster.
I suppose it's only fitting that I work the three of you to the bone.
Whoa, now, let's not get hasty.
We didn't even get to do anything.
Quiet, please.
Raina pinched the air and drew it aside, a gesture to zip it and zip it fast. The smile she wore was so devious that you felt goose pimples on your arms.
Don't get the wrong idea. I love and appreciate the fact that you came early to help, but I also can't ignore the slight. Justice and all that. You understand that?
She stared pointedly at the future lawyers present, and Cameron whimpered from beside you.
So, since I'm must relocate the items for obvious reasons. Deja, you can oversee the rest of the preparations by yourself.
What? Reina, that's...
Hard, I know. I've been doing it by myself until you got here, remember? The other SG students are in the backyard. They're like lost little sheep, so you'd better get over there before someone falls in the river or something. Shoo!
Deja's mouth worked silently, and you and Cameron went uncomfortably still as she glanced to either side. She may have been vice president, but this was still a huge responsibility being handed to her. Delegating and managing weren't exactly the most fun of tasks to start. Deja had complained to you enough times that you knew she particularly disliked having to talk to so many people at once.
Man, I hate it when they all come up to me for guidance.
That's one interesting thing about the art. A lot of people don't recognize that palms of black people's hands can tend to be lighter than the rest of their skin, so that's actually kind of cool.
I guess I'll see you later.
And there she went, trudging to the gate that led to the backyard. Watching her drag herself off, you didn't really have high hopes for what came next.
Cam?
And neither did Cameron as they leaped a foot in the air, their backs straightening to military stiffness.
Sweet, sweet Cam. I'm gonna have you move all of the groceries to the backyard, set the table with snacks, load the coolers, and so on. When you're done, please handle the set list too.
Oh, sure.
Swept up in Reina's current, Cameron jabbed a button on their key and scurried to the SUV's rear, reaching to stick their arms through as many shopping bag handles as they could. Carrying everything by themselves would be a grueling task, but they didn't dare complain as they spun to drag as many drinks and snacks as they could to the backyard. And now it was your turn. Do your worst. I can take it.
Can you?
I am still human, let me make that clear.
Well, anyway, I've got just the task for you. You're gonna help a friend of mine finish making these damn cupcakes.
Damn, what do those cupcakes do to you? Exist! I knew I should have gone with cookies. So here's the deal. These cupcakes were supposed to be finished an hour ago. The guy you're helping knows what he's doing. You might know him for it, actually. Unless you live under a rock. It's fine if you don't. It's not important. What matters is he's only one person, and I may have hit him with a really tall order. So just... She made a grand but uncertain gesture, waving one arm vaguely toward the house. Help where you can, alright? And I mean wherever you can. The clock's ticking. Something I should be watching out for specifically? Yeah, I heard you the first time. Is there something I should be watching out for specifically? Trouble in any and all shapes. Bet. Nothing's getting past me unless it's over my dead body. Reina sighed, her head tipping to one side as she folded her arms. Sorry, it's just that my friend's sort of finicky. I do believe you'll be alright, but just in case, I got a couple of notes. One, he's going to insist that he can take care of the cupcakes himself. Don't listen to him. We need to expedite the process. Two, he's a little on the skittish side. Like a bunny. So don't do anything to spook him, if you can. Sure, no problem. Okay, then... With a jingle, she pulled a spare house key from her pocket, handing it over with a peppy nod. I leave him in your capable hands. Once you're done, come find me in the backyard. I'll be around somewhere. Thanks a bunch. And like the spring breeze, Reina left in a flurry of pink, because yeah, that is a lot of fucking pink. You step through the front door, half expecting to find yourself in a life-size version of a pink plastic dollhouse. Surprisingly, the living room was just that, an average living room found in any house in the Northeast. Bummer. Maybe you shouldn't have expected much, considering the interior wasn't doused in baby pink. Back to the job, a sweet, warm aroma led you across the living room and through an archway on the other side into the kitchen. There was someone stooped behind the kitchen island, with blonde hair and a green sweater. They bent even farther, leaning down to swap trays of batter in and out of the open oven. That'd have to be Reina's friend. He spoke up as you entered, trying not to startle them. Heyo. The door to the oven snapped shut, and with a fresh batch of cupcakes held in one mitted hand, he turned to you, lips parted in slight surprise. There was a moment of hesitation visible on his face before it thawed into a genial smile.
Hello. Can I help you?
Okay, I may not be using this term right, but I believe this is what one would refer to as a bishy. It was only a couple of words, but you noticed a lilt in his voice. The vowels softly rose and fell, lending him a melody that threaded even the simplest of sentences. What, really? You want me to fall for this? No. A foreign exchange student, maybe? There are plenty of those at Rin Mayor. Hi, Reyna sent me over to help pick up the slack. Her words, though, not mine.
Did she now?
Okay, well, she didn't use those words exactly. My point is, I'm the one that's helping you. He nodded once before placing the tray on the stovetop and shaking off the oven mitt.
I see. I've got it covered, but thank you.
She said you'd say that. I'm supposed to insist on helping you. And so this is me insisting. What can I do?
Well, I put the last batch in already, so all that's left is decorating.
Okay. There was barely any space on the counter when you joined him, thanks to the wire racks crowded with rows and rows of cupcakes. We couldn't have drawn the rows on rows of cupcakes? I'd like to have seen the cupcakes. A number of them were already frosted, but there were plenty that hadn't yet been decorated. I'm starting to see why Reyna told me to come help.
Waiting for the cupcakes to cool was the most time-consuming part. We'll be done in time.
He gestured to a row of piping bags filled with a rainbow of different colored frostings.
Do you know how to use these?
You didn't, and you let him know as much. You didn't, but luckily, I do. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Then, please, be my guest.
Feel free to praise my work. Prepare to be impressed. Okay, but don't laugh. It's not up to snuff. Stop, you're gonna jinx me. Yeah, prepare to be impressed. Not possible. You will be.
I'm definitely looking forward to this, then.
You glanced at the cupcakes that were already finished. Some of the designs were singular flowers made up of layered petals. Others were entire bouquets of tiny clustered blooms, piped with a confident flair that made for a spectacular show of craftsmanship. Since flowers seemed to be the theme, you quickly pulled aside 3 colors of frosting, and with practiced movements you started piping. Along the way, you switched from white to cream, then to a peachy blush. With a flourish, you lifted the nozzle one last time, revealing a rose that faded from one color to the next.
You weren't kidding.
What did I say?
Yes, you did an excellent job. Congratulations. You can carry on then. I'll deal with the finishing touches.
Returning to a rack of half-decorated pieces, he picked up a piping bag and settled in. Wherever his attention turned, leaves and petals unfurled in flicks of effortless color. Bit by bit, he cultivated a garden out of frosting. Vanilla and sugar wafted through the air, making the scene even more convincing. You're really good at this. You handed over a cupcake with a rosette on it, and he tended to it quickly, creating a cluster of wavy-edged leaves. I'd hope so. I've been doing this for a long time. How long are we talking? 10 years? Maybe 11. I hope you're getting paid for this at least. Are you? God, no. I plan on eating my weight in barbecue later to make up for it. I see. Well, today I'm simply honoring a favor. Boo. Where's the justice for us workers, huh? He cracked a wry smile, and you grinned back, before realizing that you'd skipped a crucial step. Ah! I forgot. I'm Jay. They, them pronouns.
You can call me Jamie. He, him.
Something tickled the back of your mind when you heard that. Jamie... Yes? Oh no, it's just, I can't quite put my finger on it, but your name reminded me of something. It's an average name. No, there's something, like... Then your stomach decided to rumble, and your train of thought screeched to a halt. There was no way Jamie hadn't heard it, but he kept piping, with his eyes demurely lowered and his mouth shut. I'm not making that noise. You deflated, hand sliding along the counter as you slumped down. Jamie's innocent facade faltered, allowing a smile to peek through. All right there? No, I'm face to face with a bajillion cupcakes and I'm starving. He reached over to hand you yet another unfrosted cupcake. Have one. Can I really? Isn't this for the party? Raina won't count them. Probably. And if she does, she's a nerd. Score. Without further ado, you peeled the wrapper away and took a bite. The cupcake was light but decadent, sitting on your tongue with a distinctly floral flavor. It was sweet, of course, but not cloying, something that Jamie seemed to already know as he blinked expectantly at you. It tastes like a flower. That was the plan, yes. Any other notes? I could eat 10 more of these. 20 more. Very high praise. I'll just move some of these a little further away. Suddenly there was a rattling sound, and you leaned to look through the archway into the dining area. Two silhouettes stood at the back door, rattling the handle to no avail. Damn it, it's locked. I told you, Raina said no one's allowed in until the party starts. Dude, I have to piss so bad. You don't have a spare key? No, but if we go find her now, she might walk you in. Ugh. He glanced at Jamie, but he hadn't moved an inch. Should we do something about that? No. There wasn't a shred of hesitation in Jamie's voice. While you looked between him and the door, the silhouette shrank away from the curtain as the unfortunate volunteers gave up and left. Why not? I don't want people in here. Raina's words from earlier resurfaced, skittish like a bunny. He didn't strike you as the timid type after talking, but now you were starting to wonder if there was something else going on. Still, there were few things that felt as bad as being unable to find a bathroom on time. What would that volunteer do? Beg Raina to let them in? Drive all the way back to campus? There has to be a reason. Keep the door locked. Well, I hope they find a bush or something. With a light shrug, you moved to pick up another cupcake. Jamie did the same, though he was finishing piping an entire flower by the time you got one layer of petals down. He was moving at a clipped pace, his eyes fixed on his work as he let the silence between you stretch on. Something was obviously bothering him, but beyond that hunch, you couldn't quite pick out the details just yet. Not while you were still decorating cupcakes, at least. And it wasn't like you could just turn and stare at him for hints. You changed the topic a little instead. Better that than to keep working in complete silence. So, I think almost all the other volunteers here are student government. I'm guessing you're not, since you only said you were doing Raina a favor? That's correct. I'm not either. Deja, the vice president? I'm a roommate, so we came together. Us, and there was that rattling again, from the front door this time. And it was followed by the familiar scraping, then clunk of the lock turning. Maybe that's Raina. Wiping your hands, you walked briskly into the living room, intent on investigating, only to hop aside as the door swung open much faster than expected. Excuse me! Without further ado, a student dashed right past you, disappearing down the hall. A second student leaned through the door to shout after them, still holding a spare key ring. Raina says we have 5 minutes, so hurry! Whoa! They flinched, realizing they were standing next to you, and you put your hands up in an automatically placating gesture. Hi. Hi? Wait, how'd you get in here? Oh, Raina asked me to help out. You answered automatically, and the student gave you a second, more discerning look. Uh-huh. Well, as long as I'm waiting for my friend, I'm going to sit. The front door clicked shut behind them, and while you quietly reached out to relock it, they moved across the living room, only to glance into the kitchen and pause, perking up with evident glee. Yo, cupcakes! Did you do all this? No, I just started helping with decorations. Yeah? Who made them, then? I am not going to mention Jamie because he doesn't want to be mentioned, and it's clear he's known. If they hadn't spotted Jamie yet, it meant he'd left the counter where the cupcakes were. You couched your answer in a little lie of omission, walking closer. Someone who owed Raina a favor. That's why we're all here, am I right? They chuckled conspiratorially, and before you could get around them, they stepped into the kitchen. How long have you... Whoa, wait, Jamie? Shit. There was a half-decorated cupcake left on the kitchen island, as well as a piping bag. Jamie was standing in the dining area, far enough away that it was clear he tried to stay out of sight. Hello. I didn't know you were here. Oh, but this makes sense. Jeez, this is a ton of cupcakes. And why are you here? Oh, we had to use the restroom. Not me, my friend. Right on cue, footsteps came back from elsewhere in the house. Jamie stepped back toward the counter, his shoulders sloped downward, and the volunteer next to you raised their voice. Hey, in here! You're not gonna believe this! Oh, fuck you, lady. What? Where? Oh. Hi, Jamie! The first student peeked into the kitchen, then scampered in with a wide smile. Their eyes were instantly glued to Jamie, to the point they almost pushed by you on their way in. If these two had their way, they'd be behind the kitchen island in a second, cooing over the finished cupcakes. But 2 steps in, Jamie put a hand up, his expression polite but distant. Please stay on that side of the kitchen. I'm still working on these. You've been here making cupcakes this whole time? Man, if we told people it was Jamie in the kitchen, our guest list would have exploded. As they spoke, the second student reached out, and Jamie smoothly plucked the half-decorated cupcake off the island counter before they could touch it. He picked up the piping bag with his other hand, finishing the rosette on top instead of replying. It didn't help much. If anything, it gave the volunteers something else to talk about. I swear these things look almost too good to eat. Almost. But really, you could have asked Raina for help. This is so much to handle all by yourself. It wasn't difficult. A little time-consuming. Jamie's sentences were oddly short and quiet, but the low volume of his words seemed to encourage the two to crowd a little closer. Come on, you make it look easy, that's all. I know I couldn't do this much detail. Last time I had to decorate cupcakes, I just spread the frosting with a knife. Ha! Their giggle twirled and pitched into a higher octave just as the oven timer went off. Jamie reached to turn it off, picking up an oven mitt and opening the door. You sure you're not in the food sciences program? I know if there was a pastry degree or something, you'd be in it. More like teaching it. Jamie Porter on the faculty. The school would be swimming in tuition fees. And they laughed, bumping each other's shoulders with easy, raucous humor. You shuffled to one side to keep from getting jostled when what they said replayed in your mind. Jamie Porter. What was it Rain had said? You'd know him unless you lived under a rock? You knew what the campus rumors said, of course. Somehow you'd gone almost 2 full years without seeing the man yourself, but you'd heard things here and there about a certain transfer student whose smile charmed anyone in a single glance. Why is that the most important part? His good looks, effortless grades, and princely manners made him a shoo-in for the position of campus boyfriend. Oh, for fuck's sake. People loved to talk about him no matter what program or year they were in. And you'd been decorating cupcakes with him, completely unaware until the final clue fell into place. But seriously, what do I have to do to get a cupcake early? Jamie shook his head, placing the last freshly baked cupcake onto an empty rack. Automatically, he picked up a cooled one, piping half a rose as he spoke. They're not finished. Well, not all of them. What about that one? They leaned forward, lifting a hand to either point at the cupcake in Jamie's hand or reach for it outright. Jamie stepped back, and they pulled their hand away, sucking in a breath that turned into a sly chuckle. Yo, just kidding. I see how hard you're working on that one. Got any rejects lying around? I'd be pretty surprised if there were. Yeah, good point. Like Jamie Porter ever messes anything up. Why am I not being given the option to herd these assholes out? The atmosphere in the kitchen had chilled since the volunteers had come in, but neither of them seemed to notice. Glancing at Jamie, you noticed he was studiously avoiding eye contact with everyone in the room, you included. Your choices in keyframes can impact your main stats, which are divided into 4 categories. Here are some examples of how they manifest. Confidence, guts, impulse, bravery, charisma, wit, charm, creativity, compassion, patience, consideration, composure, poise, restraint, balance. You can always check your current stats by clicking on the information button located on the quick menu. Some interactions may involve a hidden stat checks, and success or failure will impact the story you're playing through. Example, passing a charm check can help you pull off a flirty joke, but failing could cause a fumble instead. But don't worry, Keyframes isn't a pure stat-raising game, and our checks are mostly for flavor. Try not to stress, okay? This was getting ridiculous. Time to tattle on these volunteers to Deja. There was a tactful way to address this. Maybe they were overwhelmed by the job thinking. Okay, enough was enough. These volunteers had to go and need to send them. I'm going to address this tactfully. Oh, shit. Man, I'd love to stay indoors till the party started. The weather's not bad, but, you know, they shrugged, casting a conspiratorial glance at you and the other volunteer. Can't beat air conditioning and a whole bunch of cupcakes, huh? Well, it's a lot of cupcakes, that's for sure. You jumped right into the conversation, planting your hands on your hips and looking between the volunteers with evident cheer. The whole other batch still in the oven, too. Boy, it's a lot to get through. I hope whatever you've got going on in the backyard is almost done, huh? Sure, yeah. They exchanged glances, and one student visibly rolled their eyes a little as they faced you. Okay, so we'll get going, but for the record, you're not the person in charge of us. Yeah, way to be a spoil sport. I don't care, they're out! With that, they walked briskly toward the back door, and you huffed as they stepped out onto the porch. I'm great at parties, actually. This one just hasn't started yet. Whatever, Killjoy. And the door slammed shut, the curtain swaying wildly as they stalked off. In the wake of their departure, Jamie left out a slow, calm breath. I suppose that was inevitable. They called me a killjoy. Me, a killjoy! Moving back to the counter, you picked up a piping bag and gestured to yourself with it, fixing Jamie with an incredulous look. I suppose they've misjudged you. Severely. I'm gonna find them later and, break dance at them or something. Well, first decorate these. He slid a fresh rack of cupcakes between you, and you picked up one with a grumble. In any case, I do appreciate you trying to help. Only trying? He actually rolled his eyes a little at that, just enough to let you know he was holding in a laugh. Jamie stepped away for a moment, checking whether the final batch of cupcakes was still warm. You stayed to the side, finding a steady rhythm and piping some flowers in quick, careful succession, and we're actually running a little past time. So that says something, I guess, about how enjoyable this game is. It's interesting, it's very idealized, and on the whole, it's clearly something fun. I kind of wish there was more, like, figuring out what chance, even though it's not a purely stats-based game and it's only for flavor, I would actually really appreciate it if we actually had a breakdown of which ones we're more likely to succeed at. There's a whole lot of stuff going on the back end that never shows its face on the front end. The answers to the questions we did in the original starting quiz thing, and what our various answers are doing. It's fine to have surprises for the most part, but at the very least, the stat-based questions should have a percentage of success, potential success. How likely is it that you're going to succeed on it before you take it? And if you're basing that on your questionnaire, that must give some indication of what your stats are. Let's look at what information says. Yeah, because we're charisma. We should be charisma, compassion, confidence. I wasn't really going for exposure, but it still doesn't give a whole lot of... You should at least know which of those answers is composed with each stat. So there's a whole lot of information that's missing, just in the dialogue options. Which, depending on how long we've got until the game comes out, they may actually fix. But given that they seem to want this to be more slice of life-ish, I wouldn't be surprised if they left it without any kind of actual demonstration of what your stats are and what they do. Which is kind of a shame, because you know the kind of person you're trying to play, so you should know what kind of approach you would likely to succeed at given your personality. So, I guess we can only hope. Beyond that, I think framing everybody we meet as a potential love interest is... I kind of get it, given what this is, but it's a visual novel. It shouldn't have to be everybody being thrown at you as... you had your first one playing up the romance, and you have, perfect campus boyfriend, and I'm like, apart from the two friends and Reina the bossy, every new individual that, we didn't have name checked in the first couple of scenes, has been thrown at us as, look, potential love interest. And okay, but there's more to life. Because I just want to be friends with Jamie, because Jamie's going through a whole lot of shit, and I'm just happy to, let him get out of his shell a little bit without having to worry about it. Maybe I'm just having an I'm too ace for this bullshit moment, but they're trying too hard to appeal. Anyway. There's no release date for Keyframes yet. All we've got is to be announced, which is the bane of my existence, honestly. But at least it means that the demo will be around for a while, so if you like the look of it or want to try some options I didn't go with this time, maybe have a look at it yourself, see if it's for you. Remember, my opinion isn't the be-all and end-all, and sometimes the feel of playing a game and choosing your own options can make or break your enjoyment, so try before you buy whenever possible. For those who like a text-based and digression-free review, that'll be up on my Ko-fi page shortly. Never a paywall, I do it for the love of the games, but yeah, maybe toss some folks in my general direction if you like what I do. I like the company. The review will have the embedded VOD, which will also be on YouTube to join my gallery of epic, ridiculous, and more than occasionally profane flail, in case you joined late or just fancy coming back to it later. For Friday, assuming my human-coded day job doesn't kill me first, I think we'll go with a narrative puzzle game. Something point-and-click for the ease of play, and creepy, because I like my creepy. This one's called Bloom and seems to involve trying to escape from someone or something called the Root Man. Cryptid or serial killer? Maybe both. I guess we don't find out unless we play. Maybe not even then, honestly, at least in terms of the demo. But we'll at least see why he's supposed to be so terrifying, and I'll probably yelp a lot. There will probably be profanity and flail. Lots of flail. Epic flail. Should be fun to watch and listen to anyway, so I hope to see you there. Until then, or until next, have a good one.